but we are now live and ready to go. I am Daniel Thompson, joined alongside by Zach Corson. We have unfortunately missed the first 3 minutes of action due to technical difficulties. Zach, you were watching it a bit closer than I was.
I was.
Would you want to give a quick overview of what happened here in the first 3 minutes of action?
Right now we have a score of 1-0. UCLA is up over Michigan. And honestly, there's been some really good defense. UCLA has been pushing the ball and getting it inside more often than Michigan would like. But Michigan's had some solid stops as Michigan got another one just now. The only goal for UCLA came on a penalty shot with a penalty within a few feet of the goalie. So it was just a one-on-one opportunity for the scorer, and she took advantage. And you would expect nothing less from a UCLA water polo player.
Absolutely. UCLA is in fact home to, in my opinion, the best women's player in the world right now, Maddie Musselman, on this UCLA squad, who currently leads Michigan 1-0 halfway through the first quarter. But Michigan with possession, 8 seconds to go on the shot clock, a chance to get back in this one, and fires a wide shot, ultimately ricochets off the near crossbar, near post, and UCLA escapes another Michigan possession harmlessly.
Michigan has gotten a few shots, but mostly with the shot clock all the way down and kind of far away from the goal. Not what you would like, and not really mirroring what UCLA has been able to do with their penetration and shots from close to the goal, close proximity.
So UCLA now in possession, and the exclusionary penalty called against Michigan. 6-on-5 numbers advantage for the Bruins as they pass the ball around the perimeter. They are narrowing that gap closer and closer toward the goal. But an offensive foul, so it will be a turnover and Michigan ball. So Michigan escapes a dangerous-looking possession there for UCLA. They had a chance to go up 2-0, and UCLA had already kind of just slowly weaved that ball in toward the Michigan defense and really compacted Michigan's defenders together. Instead, though, error by UCLA gets Michigan the ball back, and it is still 1-0. Michigan with the ball and a chance to tie things up. 18 to go in the shot clock. Michigan has been taking their time to set up the offense, passing around the UCLA defense. A pass down in low in front of the goal, but great defense there from the back by UCLA. Looked like Michigan's.
That was Bella Wenzel who was able to get the ball right in front of the goal, and that's the first time I've seen Michigan be able to penetrate the defense of UCLA, unable to convert on that attempt.
Yeah, Michigan's Kathy Rogers had a really good, as you mentioned, first time really to penetrate the defense whatsoever. Kathy Rogers had really the first good Michigan scoring chance of the day. Comes up fruitlessly, though, because of the great play by UCLA. UCLA fires a shot from about 4 meters away, ultimately not quick enough and not high enough. Heidi Rittner able to make a save without moving too much. Foul called against the Bruins now, though. Michigan will have numbers as an exclusionary foul is called, and it will be the power play for Michigan. Maddie O'Reilly now with the ball and setting up the offense. Michigan once again taking their time. They've got still about 15 seconds to work with before UCLA returns to full strength. And an errant pass goes over Maddie O'Reilly's head, and that's going to waste precious seconds on the power play. Michigan with the closing moments. UCLA back to full strength. But Michigan sets up a short-range shot. Ultimately, though, play is blown dead by the officials, and it will be UCLA ball, no harm done. We've seen both teams now fail to convert an exclusionary penalty on their end of the pool.
And just after that whistle was blown, Aaron Newstrom was able to score the ball, but did not count after the whistle. Was one of the first good looks for Michigan there.
Yep, the crowd might have gone wild for a moment, but it was not a goal. In case that distracted you to at any extent, maybe you think that a goal had been scored. It was waved off because of the offensive foul against the Wolverines. But another good defensive stop, and we have a minute to go in this first quarter. Still a one-point game. Michigan very much in as they play it low again. Ultimately, though, two defensive swimmers in the area and muscle the ball away from Kathy Rogers. So it will be UCLA taking over.
What I've seen so far in this game early on, it was a struggle for Michigan to be able to penetrate, as I said, but recently...
As the ball is played forward. All right, we had another technical difficulty there, lost internet connection for a moment. We are back now, though. It is still 2-0 in case you are just joining us. Michigan's Ava Morant now with the ball. Plays it back to her teammate Emily Rittner. Michigan, they have a bit of an uphill battle to climb back into this one. They trailed Wagner 1-0 at one point, but UCLA is a whole different animal. Good looking long shot right there from about 12 feet away by Sophie Pontre. Ricochets off the keeper's hand and right into the arms of Erin Newstrom.
That was a powerful shot by Michigan, and a great save by the UCLA goalkeeper.
Our Nat Mike probably picked that one up. That was
I believe the goalkeeper is Georgia Phillips for UCLA from Fresno, California.
As Michigan's shot goes harmlessly over the crossbar, so UCLA still in command of this one, up 2-0 as Michigan looks to get on the board.
Just under 6 minutes left in this second period.
Pass out wide as UCLA looking, not a whole lot of urgency with the way they're playing defense, still lead 2-0, but
I've seen some really good defense by Michigan in this second period. A few turnovers forced, as another one right there. Getting in the passing lanes and just staying busy.
As Michigan plays a deep pass down the pool, basically the whole length, trying to get a fast break here. Ultimately, Michigan plays it a bit too quickly and cannot find Ava Morant right in front of the net, trying to get open, but ultimately, I like the idea there from Michigan. They don't have anything going offensively, so they just get aggressive and try to catch UCLA in transition. The thought worked halfway, but could not quite fully be actualized as Michigan commits a defensive penalty. Not just a common foul, though, no exclusion, so still 6-on-6, full strength. 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Now still 2-0, scoreless in this period. Just 10 to go on the shot clock. UCLA has to get something going quicker. 9 seconds to be on their heels any more than UCLA is, at least in this quarter.
I would say the one difference is UCLA's they're more laid back. They're more picky with their shot selection.
Absolutely, yes.
Like Michigan's been shooting those far shots, whereas UCLA is trying to work their way to the center, and then as I say that, they just score a goal from the middle as they penetrate the defense of Michigan.
Classic announcers jinx there, as we just talked about how UCLA didn't get a shot on goal off so far the whole quarter. Then right there they get one, a beauty right into the back corner of the net. Not much doing to stop that one. It is 3-0 in case you are just joining us. Michigan trails UCLA by 3. Wolverines are 7th ranked. They were 7th in the preseason poll. Went 2-2 in the Aztec Invitational in San Diego. And retained that number 7 position, playing some very tight competition out there in Southern California. Now they have 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. They got to score, at least cut this to a 2-point deficit at the half, I would think, with the way UCLA is playing defense. Kathy Rogers has the ball, but not much doing. Finds Ava Morant down low. Ball plays pinball, goes off a couple of UCLA defenders before Ava Morant ultimately gets it back with a renewed shot clock.
And that went off of Georgia Phillips, the goalkeeper for UCLA. It went off her face.
Yeah, and Ava Morant eventually came out with that one with 2 UCLA defenders in the area. That might have been a case of just wanting it more. She was never going to let that ball leave her palm once she got just the slightest bit of pressure on it. A wide, ambitious pass goes a bit too long, trying to find Kathy Rogers right in front of the net. Won't go, though, and now it will be UCLA ball yet again. Michigan still blanked right now. We're almost halfway through the game.
We talked about wanting it more. This Michigan team sure wants it more. They haven't done well historically against UCLA, losing their last 23 games.
And UCLA skips one under the arm of Heidi Rittner. That's going to be a tough one for Rittner to let by her. That was, well, not a completely soft goal. That was probably her weakest one allowed of the game. One she might want back, but UCLA right now, they caught a break there potentially. Michigan calls a timeout. It's a 2-minute break here. 2:50 to go, and they are reeling now, down 4-0. 2 years ago when the Ann Arbor Invitational was Michigan Invitational, was broadcast by WCBN. It's a very similar atmosphere. On that day, the Michigan Water Polo Tournament was the only varsity athletic event on campus that weekend. So they made it the premier event. Alumni Band was here like it was there, and they had the UCLA game as the premier matchup. They wanted to advertise to all the fans getting to show up. We've got a solid 60 or so Michigan fans here, including Coach Jim Harbaugh himself.
I was just about to say, I bet a celebrity did not show up to that game 2 years ago. And you cannot forget about Jim Harbaugh.
The Michigan Trooper was at both.
Yes, okay.
That's the number one Michigan celebrity.
Stormtrooper, yes.
But no, yes, Jim Harbaugh. Funny enough, we were discussing his daughter, Grace Harbaugh, is on the team of freshmen. We were discussing it before. Do you think Harbaugh will show up? You said no, I said yes, and as we were talking about it,
the second after Daniel said he believes that Jim Harbaugh would show up, who do we see walking up the stairs? Jim Harbaugh. Jim
and son Jack were walking right up the stairs. So a point for me there. I guess you're just the jinx artist today so far.
Yes.
Jinx UCLA
no
Black
shots on goal, then 2 shots in the past minute or so. And then prior to the game starting, my poor call on whether Jim Harbaugh would show up or not.
But I knew he had to be here. There's only this year there will be 3 in water polo tournaments in Ann Arbor. That is a very rare occurrence. Michigan fans take full advantage of that. Some years just 1, some years 2. So Harbaugh's not going to have that many opportunities to watch his daughter play. So I knew he had to take advantage of this one. But Michigan right now, they're going to need a goal here. 3 minutes to go. 2 years ago, as I was mentioning, they made it a big event and unfortunately just could not keep up with the firepower of UCLA. And they're not a team that they're number 7 in the country. They should be able to hold their weight with UCLA. Maybe not win that often, but they lost to number 4 Berkeley 8-7 a week ago. We know they can keep it closer than this, but it's going to require some opportune scoring from this point forward.
And last year when these two teams faced off in the tournament, UCLA came out victorious, winning 13-7. But it was earlier this year in an exhibition, albeit exhibition game, that Michigan came out on top in a 1-score game.
Yep, Maddie O'Reilly tries to take matters into her own hands with a 14-foot snipe that goes over the crossbar. Had some heat on it, though. I think it would have beaten the keeper if it were on goal. Nonetheless, that's simply a hypothetical. Michigan trails 4-0, and UCLA has the ball. Crouching in on a far angle shot. They pass it back up toward the top. Still throwing it around the perimeter. 17 to go on the shot clock. UCLA has plenty of time to work with. Passes a bit high, but corralled and ultimately fired into the near corner. That's another goal. That one, I think, ricocheted off the inside of the near post. Very hard to stop that as you hear a UCLA chant coming from the crowd here. It's a very good audience.
They travel pretty well.
Yeah, as I was saying to you before the game, now I correctly predicted Harbaugh would show up, but were the UCLA fans going to show up? Basically every tournament's in California. This is like the one weekend you could take off. It's not going to be a super far trip, but these UCLA fans, a lot of the parents, I'm assuming, are extremely dedicated, even though it's about 8 times further of a trip probably than any other trip they'd have to make all year for the tournament.
And I doubt they have to fly to any other tournament.
No, exactly. And maybe if you want to take a trip up to Northern California, you can take a plane. But that's optional at that point. This one is extreme
I would not
dedication.
drive to Ann Arbor from Westwood.
No,
let's just say that.
No, yeah, I've done the Westwood to Berkeley Bay Area Drive. It can be pleasant if you go the right way. If you're new to California like I was, it was pretty interesting to go through the valley. Much different than flat Michigan, but offensive foul cost Michigan of another possession. They're down 5-0. Have given up 3 goals in their last 4 to UCLA's last 4 possessions. A minute 26 to go, and UCLA is close to putting this one out of hand. Michigan did lead 8-2 against Wagner early. Ultimately, surrendered 5 goals in a row to make it 8-7 before taking the lead again. So Michigan knows that these games can be closed. The gap can be closed pretty quickly. 4 to go on the shot clock, but UCLA puts one back again, and that's a killer for Michigan.
This UCLA team is just running circles around Michigan.
Yep, swimming circles maybe.
Swimming circles, that's correct. Excuse me.
3 consecutive goals for the Bruins, and that one came with 3 to go on the shot clock. That is a tough pill to swallow, a minute 12. I said Michigan a few moments ago, Michigan needs to get back into this one with down 2 at the half. They're now down 6. They could ideally hope to be down 4. I mean, this has been an ugly start, another deflating start to a game with UCLA, much like basically every time they play them in Ann Arbor. They have played every other game very tightly so far this year, but UCLA seems to be their kryptonite. Ball played in down low. That was a blind shot there by Erin Newstrom. Her face was going into the water, and she tried to shoot over her head sideways. That was never going to be a high percentage shot. In Michigan, I mean, there's still time in this game. You're probably not going to come back from this one, but why not just slow things down and try to play as fundamentally solid as you can. 13 to go in the shot clock, 30 on the game clock. UCLA fires one just wide left.
And UCLA is up 6-0, in large part due to Georgia Phillips, the redshirt freshman goalkeeper for UCLA. She's one of 9 Bruins that represented Team USA at the 2019 Women's Junior World Championship in Portugal. So this team is stacked, and their goalkeeper is very talented.
Timeout called by head coach Dr. Marcello Leonardi. A bit too close to the Super Bowl. Accidentally called him Lombardi, but
Yeah, Super Bowl fever.
Yeah, head coach Dr. Marcello Leonardi calls a timeout. 16 seconds to go on the game clock. And then we are headed toward halftime. And boy, could Michigan use a goal here. Not sure if it's going to make a difference in the final result. Already down 6-0. But to not be blanked in the first half would be a big confidence booster for this team.
No doubt, going into halftime on a high note, could really use a score here. With 16 seconds left in the first half, they passed it in.
Taking their time for now, not showing any urgency with 10 on the clock, trying to set anything up with the exclusionary foul. 6 on 5, 4 to go, 3 to go, pump faking, passing around. A good pass inside, but just not enough time for Michigan to corral it. It was Emily Rittner who had the ball, not quite in her hands, kind of tried to spike a lob ball toward her into the goal. I don't know if she was worried.
Touch score.
Yeah.
For a touch pass, it's a touch score.
Attempting it. I don't know if the issue was that she thought there wouldn't be enough time to get the shot off if she fully grabbed it, or if it was just a bit out of her reach. Either way, though, just not quite enough possession. It was a very impressive look. Frankly, I think their best offensive possession of the whole. It was it was with a 6-on-5 power play, but the most creative and skillful looking passes of the whole half for them.
Yeah, they were able to pass it out to the wing, then back down in the middle, and then a little tip. It was just a little high.
Yeah, and I think
great play design.
I think it was height that was the difference there, not time. But if Rittner could have gotten her hand fully around that, I think she would have put that back in for a goal. Ultimately, nearly does damage anyway, but 5-minute halftime timeout here now, and Michigan's going to have to think about how they're going to climb back into this one. You know, it's also so tough with water polo. 16 teams get into the tournament, and you basically, if you're not in the Big West Conference, you have to win your conference. It's hard to be an at-large, but Michigan being ranked 7th in the preseason polls, very much in play for an at-large bid if something were to go wrong in CWPA play and they were to not get that auto bid. Now the CWPA tournament is here in Ann Arbor, so WCBN will bring you that call in about 3 months' time, and you can see if they do secure that auto bid like they should, the heavy preseason favorites to win the CWPA. But at least by far and away the highest ranked team in the CWPA conference. But will they be able to maybe even have such a good season they can lock up the auto bid? That we don't know, and how they perform here in the second half will be a part of that.
So early on in this season so far, who do you think is Michigan's biggest threat to winning that conference?
I mean, my intuition is to go with Indiana. I saw a bit of them today. Michigan and Indiana, the only 2 Big Ten schools that play any kind of water polo. No Big Ten school has varsity men's water polo. Both Michigan and Indiana play women's water polo, and they are in the CWPA conference with a couple of other East Coast teams. It's the CWPA stands for the College Water Polo Association. It is simply a one-sport conference designed entirely to accommodate all of the colleges in the general northeastern part of the U.S. that have women's varsity water polo. As Michigan had quite a few first-team All-Pros in the previous year. Heidi Rittner, the goalie, still around, was a first-teamer all year. Michigan had 2 of the 7 first team all CWPA, and Maddie Steer of the Wolverines was the MVP of the entire division. She has gone on to graduate, but the CWPA includes as well Harvard, Bucknell, Princeton, all the Ivies that play women's college water polo. I hope you've been able to hear us. The alumni band is quite thundering here in Canton Natatorium. It's a low ceiling. They really echo. I'm not sure if we were able to be heard at all right there while they were playing. Unfortunately, I had to turn them off entirely, but...
And they just concluded. Oh, yep. They're still going.
No, they're still going. We'll
still going for another minute 40.
Yeah, we'll just keep the Nat mics off at halftime so we don't get overshadowed. But yes. I'd like to nominate Indiana as the biggest challenger to Michigan.
And Michigan plays against Indiana pretty soon. Is that correct?
Well, so Indiana's at this tournament. They don't play because they're in the same conference. Want to be able to get as many non-con opponents as you can in the preseason. There will be CWPA tournaments where they will meet, and Michigan will go to Bloomington because they're close enough to justify to stay one weekend, just go down to Bloomington to play a game. So Michigan will play. They will have a chance to establish dominance over the 23rd ranked Indiana Hoosiers.
But again, there are only 60 teams nationally in water polo, so while 23 in basketball or football would be quite respectable. Yeah. Water polo, it's around halfway point of all the schools.
Yes, yeah, and being the top 25 is not as great of an accomplishment in college water polo, but Michigan being ranked 7, that is a big deal. However, sort of a lot like college football, there is a very elite class of heavyweights. You know, in college basketball, number 7 versus number 1, that sounds like an awesome game. Probably will be a great time. Number 7 versus number 3, similarly. In college football, though, if the number 7 team is playing a playoff team, they probably don't have that much of a chance.
Even number 5, Georgia against LSU.
Or number 4, Oklahoma LSU. Those are bloodbaths. I mean,
huge difference.
And water polo is a bit more like football in that regard at the collegiate level. And right now, Michigan is feeling that wrath of a true top 4 type team in UCLA. Now, granted, they played California incredibly close, lost 7-8 out in Santa Barbara on a last-minute goal too by the Bears to win that one. This Maddie O'Reilly is the sprinter for Michigan, and she wins that sprint by a fingertip, beating the UCLA Bruins. So Michigan gets their first sprint win of the game to start the third quarter and the second half. But Michigan, we know, can play with these teams. Usually, it won't go as well as the 7-8 result, but they could win these on their best days. Today is one of the more unfortunate days, though, trailing 6-0 already, as a low shot that was just a bit too central is deflected by the UCLA keeper. UCLA now playing the ball into the middle of the pool. Aren't going to have too much urgency. I don't think they're going to try to burn the clock yet, but they know they have a big lead and don't have to rush anything. 12 to go on the shot clock. Playing one wide, a wet pass out to the left wing. Official saw something he didn't like and is going to give UCLA a chance to generate some sprays. 3 to go. Ball played low, not enough time for UCLA to corral that, and the center back will give up on trying to get that one back and let Michigan's Heidi Rittner collect that ball and play it forward.
Was that a flop by the whole set?
Looking for a foul.
Yes.
I don't think so. I think there was really just, she knew there was not much of a chance. She was, some typical fighting, didn't have the ball yet. It might have been. Yeah, I could see embellishment there. Good eye. As an exclusionary foul is called against the Bruins, though, so Michigan has a power play now, 6-on-5, playing it around the perimeter, and Rankin out to Maddie O'Reilly on the right wing. Now pumping is Emily Rittner. That one is batted away. They're going to rule that was off the crossbar. I thought UCLA got a piece of that one before it went out.
I don't believe so. I think that was clean. Just too powerful of a shot and too high.
All right, you and the official outnumber me on that one, so we'll go a good call there. Another blown power play opportunity for the Wolverines. Yet to not having converted on a power play or even strength of any kind so far in this one. Still being blanked right now. 6-0, 6:14 to go in the third quarter. exclusionary foul called against Maddie O'Reilly. Now numbers in favor of UCLA, looking to make this 7-0. Play it from wing to wing, now back toward the top of the offense, toward the very key of the whole operation, but that ball's played a little bit high, and UCLA cannot corral it. That'll waste some precious seconds. And Maddie O'Reilly's coming back into the field of play, but UCLA snipes it from the right wing. That technically won't count as a power play goal, but Maddie O'Reilly had not been able to come in and affect the action yet by the time the ball left UCLA's hands, and it is a 7-0 lead for the Bruins now. You have some UCLA chants coming from the crowd. They traveled a long way for this one, and so far so good. 2-0, 1-0 on the day officially, looking to go 2-0 here. That's a pretty safe bet at this point.
It's been worth the trip.
Yep, you know, we had to fly out to this one, but they're still going to get their money's worth.
Unless Michigan can go on a crazy run and overcome a 7-point deficit.
Don't know about that one, but we will see. That would be pretty remarkable. We'll go down in the annals of history like the Patriots' 28-3 Super Bowl comeback. Michigan has nothing doing, although they get the ball to the hole down low. A potential scoring chance, fouled from behind as Michigan's Erin Newstrom, and she is going to the penalty shot, I believe.
Yes, and this is how UCLA scored their first goal of the day. Maybe this is how Michigan scores their first goal.
There you have it, symmetry on the line, as Michigan is going to elect to have Ava Moran to be the penalty shooter. Just her and the keeper, and about 4 meters separating them. As you can hear a pin drop right now at Canham Natatorium. Perfectly placed into the corner, and that is off, rattling the back of the cage for a Michigan goal, and hail to the victors will play as Michigan is on the scoreboard, trailing 7-1.
And finally, the ice has been broken. Michigan getting off the schneid, now down 7-1. Maybe that's the start of a big run.
Maybe.
You never know. You never know, Daniel.
There's still 13 and a half minutes to go in this one, so.
That's a lot of time.
Well, yep, the monkey's off their back, and it's pretty hard to tread water with a monkey on your back. So they can maybe be a bit more lively in this one, at least maybe convince the voters that they are truly a top 10 team that can hang with a team like UCLA. Just got off to a bad start. UCLA, though, is trying to respond. Oh, that one nearly hit the inside of the post. It's still live. That ball is rolling toward the goal line. It gently floats across the goalpost as we actually had a goalie substitution, as I believe Cameron Cordial is now in for the Wolverines.
That was a matter of inches.
Yes, as the ball ricocheted off the inside of the post. 2 Michigan defenders and Cameron Cordial, the goalkeeper, were looking to see who will run the side after who should go after that ball. Ultimately, the UCLA forward is right there and just flicks the ball over the hand of Cordial to try to go back. Cannot get there in time before the ball barely floats across the goal line for a UCLA goal, 8-1. And if you're going to make a 7-point comeback, you cannot let anything like that happen. It's another empty possession. Michigan plays it up to their center, but just a bit too far ahead and into the goalie's reach. So it will be another UCLA possession, still up 7.
Michigan's defense has been solid so far, except for that last play. Well, it was fluky.
Absolutely. As that time, they let one ball in right in the hole in front of the net, and that one is easily put away into the side netting. I think you're 0-3 or 3-0, depending on the point of view from the announcer's jinx. I don't know if every time you cause the jinx, you count that as a win. I don't know.
To the UCLA fans, I'm 3-0.
Absolutely, and you are, of course, an Angelino. So
that's right. Shout out to any UCLA people listening in.
As Michigan with a great scoring opportunity, they skip that one into the goal like skipping a rock. I mean, that one bounced probably 40% of on it, only 40% of its journey to the net. Ultimately, though, great shot there by Sophie Pontre, the junior from Perth, Western Australia. That one's even further than the penalty shot, but a great skipping pass causes some erratic motion the keeper could not predict, and it goes into the net. Michigan on the board again, 9-2, and a quick UCLA possession is deflected by Michigan's Cameron Cordial and sent out of bounds across the goal line, so it will be a corner pass for the Bruins.
UCLA trying to get the ball in the middle and then kick it back out, and they're successful.
Yep.
That's their game plan. No secret there.
No, if you can dominate the narrow box in front of the net, you will be able to score goals. That's just a simple matter of fact. So now 10-2, UCLA is at the double-digit mark. Michigan probably not going to hit that at any point today, but if they could at least get to, I think, 6 goals, they might have something to hold their heads high about in this one, just to knock it off to the start they were looking for, although they've played it much more competitively here in the second quarter.
At least, if they could salvage this day by at least outscoring UCLA for the rest of the game, that should be something to be proud of.
Kathy Rogers gets the ball down low, not quite in the hole, but had a free pass to the net from about 8 feet away, and now she is going to get a penalty shot, but is going to give it to Sophie Pontre, who just scored on Michigan's previous possession, so she has a chance to cut it to 7 again.
She has the hot hand, so why not let her continue to shoot?
With a beautiful skip pass in, back-to-back, great skip shots, and just too erratic for the Bruin keeper to chase down, and she now has 2 on the day. 10-3, the Wolverines trail. So UCLA going to start up the offense. They keep responding to every single Michigan goal with one of their own. Can Michigan get a goal, then play some defense, and maybe inch back into this one? 3 to go in the third quarter. UCLA plays it back out wide, up to the top of the formation, off the upper corner of the crossbar, and that one's going to go right back into a UCLA hand. Fresh new shot clock now for the Bruins. Michigan has gone to a few more younger depth players at this point, trying to get players experience against some really high-end top talent. UCLA continues to play the ball around the perimeter of the Michigan defense. 19 to go. This is a long possession. It's going to get tiring for Michigan to play defense all this long. Errant pass, though, is a bit too wide, and Cameron Cordial will scoop that one up and bring the ball forward. Michigan finally gets a stop following a goal.
That's a big stop for Michigan, trying to go on a run of their own. UCLA started this game off 8-0. Or, yes, 8-0. And now Michigan has outscored them 3-2.
7-0.
7-0. Okay, so they're tied 3-3 over the past, 6 minutes.
And Michigan moving the ball. They've tried to play it down low, but 3 UCLA defenders converged immediately. Kathy Rogers tries one from way downtown, and that is a bit of a slow floater that bounces off the car. Oh, tipped. All right. Good eyes. And Michigan now with the chance to score. Fresh new shot clock, 35 seconds. And now we'll see what Michigan can get going. Ella Abbott has entered the game, a freshman from Corona Del Mar, California, that we mentioned earlier, but head coach Dr. Marcelo Leonardi calls a timeout, so Michigan
acknowledging that this is a big possession, wanting to draw something up. The play at the end of the first half that he drew up was magnificent. Just unable to convert, just a little high. But really, you can't argue with that play design. And maybe he's calling something, wanting to make sure everything is as precise as he wants it coming out of this timeout to score a goal and make it a 6-point game.
Certainly, and the Michigan's not going to win this game, to be frank, but they could, keeping this respectable, impressing the voters, continuing to build out the legacy of this program. They have to recruit nationally. I don't know if there's a single high school in the state of Michigan that plays varsity water polo. I mean, you have to really, just ensure players from out of state that they're going to be on a competitive team. With, of course, the many things that the University of Michigan has to offer, you want to at least be able to offer a competitive team too. And good results against UCLA will go a long way to recruiting players from Los Angeles, which is where, frankly, half of the top women's water polo talent in the world comes from.
I've been spoiled. I didn't realize that water polo isn't really played out of Los Angeles, or out of California, that is.
In the United States, at least, it is not. Europe, you're going to find a lot of great water polo talent, but boy, oh boy, do the women playing water polo in California, are they something else. They could win the gold medal every year all by themselves. As coming out of timeout, Michigan has a 6-on-5 power play here. Ella Abbott with the ball, plays it back toward teammate Sophie Tavani, the freshman from Danville, California, fires one off the crossbar. That one's going to go toward the corner, though, and Michigan will be able to pick it up, but not before the power play ends. Fresh shot clock, but full strength for the Bruins. 1:52 to play here in the third quarter. Michigan trying to get point number 4 on the board. Sophie Tavani now with the ball. Plays it out to the wing in Ebba Allett. Pump fakes, rejected. Ball right into the hand of a UCLA defender who wins the dash out to that ball. And UCLA is going to get possession here. 1:30 to go in the third.
This UCLA team is also very young. Along with the Michigan players that are in the game, a lot of the UCLA players are freshmen or sophomore, and they're making a big difference. A lot of good young talent being recruited.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, Michigan has some freshmen and sophomores who are just regular starters on this team as well. As UCLA just spends a bit too much time dilly-dallying, although immediately after turning it over, just basically surrendering the ball to the Wolverines, Kathy Rogers is not alert and lets a UCLA swimmer come from behind and steal the ball from her and retake possession. UCLA takes a timeout now, so now it will be UCLA ball again. 59 seconds to go in the game, 31 on the shot clock as head coach Adam Wright calls timeout and wants to sort things over.
I like what I've seen so far from this Michigan team in the third period. It's working their way, not playing to UCLA's pace offensively, trying to find something in the seam, and then when they are fouled and there is a penalty, they do take advantage. As they have scored once on a penalty shot and then once on a power play.
Twice on a penalty shot. In fact, no even strength goals, which might be a bit alarming for the Wolverines, but they have been converting the penalty opportunities. Any advantage you can give them, they have done a pretty good job with. However, they still are looking for that first even strength goal. And that will be something they hope to amend. Hard to win games when you cannot score on even strength. As UCLA still has 43 seconds to go in this timeout. Head coach Adam Wright talking things over with his team. I mean, I don't know what UCLA really needs to focus on here. They have no negative takeaways from this one.
I don't know. They're just all around a really solid team. Not being really exposed to much water polo other than really good players. In California, I'm still blown away by this UCLA team, and just overall how skilled each and every player is on that team.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. And Michigan, I'm not sure if it'll ever happen where Michigan's going to be able to out-recruit UCLA in Los Angeles, but that's where you go get talent. It is such an unbelievably gifted group of players they have. As a shallow pass is taken away by Ava Morant.
And Michigan has numbers.
Yep, and a chance to counter. 48 on the game clock, 29 on the shot clock. Plays it forward. Michigan has a 2v1 advantage here as Michigan's Sophie Tavani is breaking to the net and fires to the opposite netting for a goal. And 4-10, Michigan with their first even strength goal of the night. I'll call that my announcer's jinx. The next possession, Michigan does get that even strength goal, and now with 38 to go in the half, 35 on the shot clock, so Michigan will get another very short possession at the end of this quarter. They could cut it to 5 and be down half of UCLA's total with a perfect ending to this quarter.
Or they could be down by 7.
Yes.
So it could go either way.
Absolutely. Glass half full or glass half empty, you decide.
And that'll stop the time. 3-second difference between shot clock and game clock.
Turnover, though, as UCLA tries to play it down low in front of the net. Sophie Pontre gets the steal, and Michigan now is going to have 20 seconds or so to work with and try to cut UCLA's point total in half.
If they're smart, they'll take the last shot and not let UCLA get another attempt.
10 now, so I doubt UCLA will have another chance for another well-set-up shot. Ball to Pontre, but she is quadruple team, and that will end the quarter as UCLA throws it to the corner to burn out the remaining time, attempting a full pool shot as that one doesn't quite have the momentum to get all the way across the pool as the water stops it in its tracks. So 10-4 deficit for the Wolverines with 1 quarter remaining. Zach, how do you think Michigan has recovered from a very slow start?
I think they've played very well in the second half, actually, and they've outscored UCLA 4-3 in that third quarter. UCLA went to the half up 7-0.
6-0, I believe.
6-0. I believe it was 7-0.
Okay.
UCLA went to the half up 7-0, and Michigan was able to take the advantage in the third quarter, up 4-3. So now they find themselves. Unfortunately, they dug themselves too deep of a hole to come out of. They find themselves down 10-4. But I like the defense that Michigan had. UCLA did a good job trying to penetrate the defense, passing it around the wing, then feeding it down low. But it was just too much, at times too much for Michigan to handle. But in that third period, Michigan did a good job of controlling it.
Yeah, they certainly did some damage control as starters were missing from both teams in that lineup, but Michigan continuing to not give up here. They had a pretty good audience coming out for this game. It's game 7 of the Michigan Invitational. I believe it is the last one here tonight. Don't see any other teams warming up in the pools. So Michigan will, they will still have 2 games tomorrow. They play Pacific and UC Irvine, I believe. Either way, they still have to.
They'll play Pacific and UCSB.
UCSB, I got my UCs backward there, but.
And UCSB, this will be the second matchup against UCSB as they squared off just under a week ago. Tomorrow will be a week ago. The number 11 ranked UCSB, now they're number 9 actually. Michigan beat them 9-7 last week. So they're looking to replicate that score, but coming off of this game here against UCLA, they're going to have a chip on their shoulder, showing that they can hang with the teams from California.
Definitely. They demonstrated that earlier this year. They beat Cal 7-8. And, UCLA.
Well, lost 8-7 to Cal.
Sorry, yes, correct. They beat, they've only played, Wagner was their first non-California team they played, the Staten Island team. But they're 2-2, going to drop to 2-3 against the state of California. But those big heavyweights, Berkeley, Stanford, USC, UCLA, Michigan just wants to be able to show they can play tight games with them. They did it with Cal earlier in the year. Not so much today, but you still have to make these results look as good as possible. Michigan has taken the pool. Don't see UCLA's team just yet.
Taking their time.
As we are ready for the final sprint of the game. Michigan trails 4-10. Maddie O'Reilly did win the sprint to begin the third quarter, though, so silver linings.
Let's see if she can come out on top in the fourth period, and potentially Michigan could score on their first possession, make it a 5-score game, which isn't totally out of the picture to come back from.
No, although against these Bruins, it would be
a very tall task.
Yep.
Paul Bunyan type task.
Indeed, as Sophia Tavani is the swimmer, and she is able to win the sprint. So a big victory right there for the freshman, maybe looking to be the starting sprinter in her future. Sophie Pontre now with the ball.
She's been the star for this Michigan team today.
Has 2 of the team's 4 goals. As a Michigan shot goes off the hands of the keeper and is recovered by Tavani, so it will be Michigan ball. Fresh new set of seconds on the shot clock, so Michigan can take their time playing around the perimeter. Emily Rittner with the ball, playing it out to Ava Morant. Now back to Sophie Pontre. Morant pump faking, and fires a bit of a prayer, but it had a chance, goes off the crossbar, and it will remain 10-4.
Again, a matter of inches. 2 inches to the right, 2 inches down, that would have been a goal, but hitting the top left crossbar.
UCLA, nothing doing so far, but they find an inlet down low. A chance to score here as they have an exclusionary foul called, and now UCLA calling another timeout. So they're going to remain very thorough here, even with the seemingly insurmountable lead.
Reminds me of, I'm sure our listeners have heard of Mike Krzyzewski. Reminds me of Mike Krzyzewski. I went to a Duke-Miami game last year, and you don't become the greatest college basketball coach ever by just sitting back and relaxing when your team is up. Duke was up by 30-plus points, and he was still yelling at them in the timeout, wanting to make sure everything was going well. And that's how you know you have a good coach, because even when you're up by a lot, that's when you want to make sure that everything is going well and you have a well-oiled machine, because in those times where it's a tight game, you're going to need to perform well.
That indeed, as we'll see if UCLA continues to hit the accelerator here, and they do right in that instant. Another corner shot angling for the corner on the power play that converts, so 11-4 lead now for the Bruins. Michigan down 7 yet again. Kathy Rogers with the ball. Ava Morant and Kathy Rogers playing back and forth, trying to slowly inch the ball up the pool. Rogers is pump faking, looking for anything, doesn't look interested in passing. And fires one toward the goalie with 12 to go on the shot clock. On goal, but not going to get past the keeper. So still 11-4, 6 to go. And Michigan is just playing for pride at this point.
It's not looking very promising.
No, it isn't, but it's quite ambitious to have a water polo program in the state of Michigan.
Oh, definitely.
And
it's impressive that they made the semifinals, or they lost to UCLA. UCLA lost in the semifinals, so they lost in the quarterfinals last year in the tournament. But they lost 13-7, so if they could match that total today, that wouldn't be so out of the picture. And that would be a respectable loss.
Indeed. It's Michigan back with possession after an empty UCLA turnover. Taking their time now, knowing that the clock really isn't a factor one way or another. I thought that was in. An impressive-looking snipe from Skylar Pyle, the senior from Long Beach, California. Went wide left, but to me it looked like my brain played a trick to me at the very least, and I thought that was in for a second.
It was just a little to the left of the goal. From our vantage point, it looked straight on.
Yep, not great for analyzing left or right where we're sitting right now. UCLA successfully gets the ball in down low, but not before 3 Michigan defenders and the keeper swarm to force the turnover. 4:56 to go. Another timeout called. This one taken, and that's how these tournaments are, right? You never really hit the scheduled time.
It's just a way of really learning, and it's for experience. It's early on in the season. While these games do matter, it's not like they're win or go home. So it's all just about learning, gaining the experience for later on in the season when it is win or go home. It's do or die games, and you really need that experience. Like in college basketball, the games now, they build up, you gain experience for the games in March. That really matter. Those late game experiences when you may lose at the buzzer, like today for this Michigan basketball team, losing at the 0.5 second mark. And that's an experience that they'll take into March. And the double overtime or the overtime loss to Oregon, they'll take that. They'll use those experiences. Same here for water polo. Even though it's a blowout here, they'll use what they have going on here, and they'll take it for their playoffs.
Yep, you and I both doing the second leg of WCBN doubleheaders. I had water polo earlier today, and you had basketball versus Illinois. That must have
was a heartbreaker.
Been a awkward building to leave. As Michigan gets going again, still even strength. They have one even strength goal on the day. Ball going back and forth between Jess Henningsen and Ava Morant before a turnover. Now UCLA will take over.
This goalie for UCLA is very good.
You can say that again. Only 4 goals allowed on the day, and 2 of them were penalty shots.
No wonder Georgia Phillips, that's the goalkeeper, no wonder she's an All-American.
UCLA pump faking, finding a pass down low. Good help. Defense collapses in on the center, though, and that UCLA has to pop the ball back outside. A moon pass to the far corner. That one will not be corralled in time, and Michigan will take over. 4:05 to go in this one. Not before running out of time, though. UCLA chucks the ball to the other end of the court just to further assure burning Michigan time. Sophie Tavani now with the ball, trying to swim up the right wing, but ultimately plays it back to teammate Maddie O'Reilly at the top of the formation. Pump faking is Tavani, back out to Riley. Riley doesn't see much of anything. Gives it to Tavani, who flips Poole and plays it all the way to Jess Henningsen. Another shot goes just wide as Isabel Rocco's shot. The Naperville, Illinois native, that's a Midwesterner right there for you.
One of the few.
Absolutely, there are very few and far between on this team. So UCLA still leads 11-4. Not much action here in the fourth quarter. 3:15 to go as the sun is setting on Michigan's time as an undefeated team here in Ann Arbor in 2020. Ball played down low. This is dangerous, and the ball is flicked just over Maddie O'Reilly's hands and floats across the goal line.
That was a finesse move.
Absolutely was. Very calm. Didn't focus on putting too much power into it. Just simply got the ball up in the air and floated it in to the corner of the net. 12-4. UCLA leads. As Michigan taking their time yet again off another brief stoppage in play. 3 minutes to go. Just trying to salvage a result they can be proud of when it's all said and done.
I don't think you can really hang your head on a loss to UCLA. UCLA is just dominant. So while the loss wasn't entirely 100% expected, a win wasn't expected.
That is certainly true. After the close game with Cal, I'm sure Michigan thought they had a prayer in this one. Good pass, it looks like, into Rachel Sodikoff. However, she cannot hold on to possession, and it will be UCLA ball. 30 seconds to go, 2.5 to play in this game. UCLA plays it forward. Go ahead. Back to the top.
Yep. Seems like they've just been using the shot clock, all the shot clock the past few possessions.
Yep, trying to milk this one as we were stepping over our toes a bit there, but bumping into each other is just a part of water polo. Very aggressive game as a loose ball is hugged by Abby May, making it very clear that she has possession. And now we've got just under 2 minutes to go. 4 possessions at most left in this game. Not nearly enough for Michigan to tie things up. But can they get back on the scoreboard?
UCLA is not letting up either. They may be up 8 points with 1:40 left, but they're not showing it. You would think this is a tie game.
Yep, Michigan having no quit in them, still has possession. 4 to shoot on the clock. And a nice-looking high pass, just a bit behind the reach of Isabel Rocco, and she can't wind up fully into that one and let it rip. So 1:22 to go. UCLA playing it forward. They aren't horribly interested in scoring. 13-4, or 12, looking to make it 13-4. As a certain Michigan player has now entered the pool. The freshman Grace Harbaugh has entered. Jim has taken notice. I noticed he looked a little more lively there, talking to his other daughter. And they just announced Grace Harbaugh into the game, and the whole crowd went wild. Zach, you noticed that first. So Michigan really letting, I think basically every Michigan player has now played in this game, using their full depth, letting them all have a chance to play against a talented team. Exclusionary foul on the Bruins, 55 seconds to go. Good chance for Michigan to score on the power play. Ball goes back. Now, Grace Harbaugh with it, pump fakes, much like her dad did, but on the gridiron. Plays it back out wide, now to the top of the formation to May, who goes off the post, and that does wind up in UCLA's hands. Very short discrepancy between the shot clock and the game clock. 33 seconds in the game clock, 28 on the shot clock, but that was after 2 seconds had passed, so a 3-second difference. Michigan probably won't have another shot all game, at least one that has a prayer of going in. So UCLA with the final possession, they mostly seem intent to play keep away, as a pass goes a bit too high, but UCLA still recovers. Countdown now from the UCLA bench, 7-6. Shot fired from point-blank range, but right into Cameron Cordial's chest.
And
corralled. Cordial's going to try to look like a quarterback here, maybe, and go full distance. Nope, tries to play it ahead to Vernesh, who, good pass, but not really any chance to complete that one. So Michigan loses 4-12, and that was, simply put, not the result they were looking for.
No, not at all. What was the Lions' record this year?
The Detroit Lions went 3-12-1.
Okay,
so that tie kind of ruins it. But.
This loss was at least better than the Lions' season.
I'm not sure if the math works that way, but I'll give it to you. And goal's a win, conceding a goal's a loss. Yeah, that's a low bar to clear, but
a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, probably not a whole lot of these players are Lions fans, but Michigan
no, most
fans
from California actually.
Yeah, I might be excited about the 49ers if they are. I mean, They're mostly LA, but I'm sure there's some Northern California.
So tomorrow, Michigan has two pretty high-profile games
against. That they do?
Against good teams. So what do you think they can take from this game and use tomorrow?
I mean, frankly, when you lose like this, maybe that's a motivator. And some of the time, though, you might just do one you try to forget about, try to put in your past. I'm not sure what it will be for this team just yet. But they have number 11 in Pacific. They beat number 21 Wagner 11-8 today. Lost, of course, 12-4 at the hands of number 5 UCLA. It will be very interesting facing their most even competition so far of the tournament, playing both Pacific and UCSB, number 11 and number 9, respectively. Those should be very tight. Wagner was a little bit overmatched by Michigan. So it'll be a very interesting bounce-back day, see what the Wolverines can do. I expect, when you're playing teams on your caliber, you're probably going to split, go 1-1.
I think, Michigan has already beat UCSB earlier this year, so they may know what to expect. UCSB also knows what to expect. So that was a close game in the first one. Michigan came out on top 9-7, so that could really go either way. And Pacific, I'm going to say I expect Michigan to win that game. Pacific's the number 11 team overall. They were playing in the game before Michigan and UCLA. They were playing against, started with an M,
Morris,
yes.
From Postecchi, New York, something like that. Smaller town, not a super well-known college, although WCBN's own Lucas Vargas actually went to a sports broadcasting camp there after his senior year of high school. He said that was his first college classes were at Morris, so that was a surprising tidbit I caught from him 2 years ago when we broadcasted the Michigan Water Polo versus Morris game together.
Okay.
So
I would say from watching that game or the second half of that game and then seeing this Michigan-UCLA game, my expectation is that Michigan will come out on top in that one. But again, the UCSB one, the second half of the doubleheader, will be a bit of a toss-up. The game against Pacific is at 9:15 and 9:15 Eastern Standard Time, that is. And the game against UCSB is at 1:45 in the afternoon.
Yep, you can drop by here if you're listening to us from the Southeast Michigan area. Stop in and cheer for the team in those. I'm sure probably this is going to be the main event that was going to draw the most fans. I mean, people in Ann Arbor, frankly, just don't recognize the brands of Pacific and UCSB as much as they do UCLA. So, why not show up? Maybe Jim Harbaugh will still be at the later games, too. You never know. And you can maybe meet Coach Harbaugh for all you know.
That's
right. A lot of reasons to come watch. One of the better teams on campus, a top 10 ranked nationally team. So far, they've had 3 days of play, and they've gone 1-1 in every single day. Can they break that deadlock for better or for worse? Tomorrow, that will remain to be seen. But any closing thoughts, Zach?
I had fun. I had fun calling this game and watching this Michigan water polo team. I really, I would advise other people to take the same opportunity. And I expected more from this Michigan team, but again, the competition was so tough. You can't really come into this game with high expectations. And I expect this Michigan team to make some noise. They'll improve. They'll play against other good teams, and at the end of the year, I expect them to make noise in that tournament.
Yep, and I think, I've enjoyed being able to call these water polo games here. Perhaps the Wagner game was a bit more exciting with Michigan getting the win, but there will be more water polo in Ann Arbor in late February and in late April for the CWPA tournament. Why not tune in? Because I can tell you most sports fans are going to be water polo fans for like 4 days this summer with the games in Tokyo. You can see some players who might make that U.S. women's national team here in Ann Arbor today, or, there's some English women and some Australians in the field to play on Michigan and other teams today. You can see them, future Olympians, so that, when you're watching the Tokyo Olympics this summer, you can say, hey, I saw her play live. So it's one more pitch to go enjoy the great sport of water polo that we don't get many opportunities to watch here in the Midwest, but I think that just about does it. A game that did not go Michigan's way, but I'm just happy to have water polo here in Ann Arbor. So we thank you as always for tuning in and wish you a good day and a go blue.